We are a socialist party and there are social solutions to the problems, and the solution is socialism at the end of the day.
6 months ago, something extraordinary happened in British politics.
Jeremy Corbyn, 251,000.
Jeremy Corbyn, for 33 years a local member of parliament and backer of left-wing causes who has never held a position of power in government, found himself leader of the UK's biggest political party. He was carried to victory on a wave of popular support from a younger generation who had turned away from traditional politics, looking for a leader who might change things. The outsider had taken control.
Fantastic moment, fantastic mandate for change in Britain, fantastic enthusiasm for real democratic politics. It's a great day.
I'm a Labour Party member and I voted for Jeremy. We were looking for a new form of politics, but from the outside, little seems to have changed. I wanted to find out if he could deliver the alternative we were promised.
Hi, Jeremy.
Morning, how you doing?
How are you?
How you doing? Good.
Sandwich.
Huh?
Got your sandwich?
No, hot cross buns.
Oh, very good.
Easter. We're off campaigning today.
How did it feel for you when Labour lost the general election?
Very, very sad, very angry at what I realised was going to happen to a lot of people in this country. As I thought the Labour message was not clear enough on the economy, not clear enough in opposition to austerity.
And was it that made you think, right, I'm going to throw my hat into the ring for the leadership election?
The left comrades in Parliament decided that we had to put somebody forward, and they all pointed at me.
For 6 years, the British Conservative Party have been in power, responding to the financial crash by pursuing an agenda of austerity. Their cuts have fallen on the poorest. Meanwhile, the Labour Party, the only realistic alternative, have been in disarray.
Now it's time for someone else to take forward the leadership of this party. Because the party needs to have an open and honest debate about the right way forward without constraint.
Jeremy's election as leader of the official opposition to the government represents a desire in parts of society for a clear socialist alternative.
We don't have to be unequal. It doesn't have to be unfair. Poverty isn't inevitable. Things can and they will change. Thank you very much.
Since taking over, Jeremy's had to deal with almost constant criticism from the mainstream media.
The one thing I've learnt over the past 6 months or so is how shallow, facile and ill-informed many of the supposedly well-informed major commentators are in our media. They shape a debate that is baseless and narrow.
In a conversation with Seamus Milne, his head of strategy, it's clear Jeremy sees an article from a leading political columnist as the latest attack.
Only the big negative today is Jonathan Freedland in The Guardian. Jonathan Freedland article in The Guardian. It's anti-Semitism. Labour has a problem with anti-Semitism under Corbyn. Utterly disgusting, subliminal nastiness. Whole lot of it, you know. He's not a good guy at all, but he seems kind of obsessed with me, you know. Yeah. Okay. Indeed. Oh, we'll think about that later. Yeah. Okay, mate. All right. Jack, is your phone? You know what I'm saying? Morning, all. Morning.
In Britain's increasingly divided society, Jeremy's very much at home among the people he feels he represents.
Teach the Tories how not to be unfair to the poor and just favour the rich.
We want Labour. Labour is the best. The distance between the poor and the rich is so big. It is so big. We want to reduce that margin. We love Jeremy Corbyn. When we want to give another name to Jeremy Corbyn, we should name him Integrity Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy.
This campaigning politician at home on demonstrations, is an unlikely leader, and has even been mocked in Parliament for the way he dresses.
Oh, I think I know what my mother would say. I think she'd look across the dispatch box and she'd say, put on a proper suit, do up your tie, and sing the national anthem.
You must be very proud of Jeremy.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I think he's a good politician. He's not very good in housework, but he's a good politician. Did you see that in Prime Minister question, Cameron shout to Jeremy and say, my mom will tell me where the proper...
He'd say, tuck your shirt in and do up your tie.
Yes. And Jeremy stand very strong. It was amazing.
Mr. Speaker, if we're talking of motherly advice, my late mother would have said, stand up for the principle of a health service free at the point of use for everybody.
I was confused there. I thought you said Israel.
While looking and behaving like a modern party leader might not matter to Jeremy, it does matter to the Labour Party.
Come on then, Jeremy. Right, you've got to train that.
It's the job of the team around him to keep him on schedule and make sure he almost looks the part.
How did you get involved in working with Jeremy?
I was fortunate enough to work on the campaign. So I did I ended up doing all the rallies during the summer.
It must be a bit of a surprise that you're now sort of working for the leader of the Labour Party.
Yeah,
technically.
My mum's very proud. We're ahead of time, which is a first, I think.
It's busy.
Too early. I don't want to curse it now.
Last weekend, the levels were 400 million.
Have you said to him, look, you'd be doing me a massive favour if you just dressed a bit smarter?
Well, I've tried, yeah. It's hard. I did get him in the white tails, and he looked smart on Remembrance Sunday. And I think that's where I peaked, really.
I'm the world's worst candidate by constituency because I just wander around chatting to people all the time. And that's what I spend my whole life doing. It's interesting because every single person you meet knows something you don't know. If you don't interact with people, you can't learn anything. It also keeps you humble.
Unpolished and approachable, Jeremy has a powerful appeal as a new kind of leader.
Over here, Jeremy.
200,000 people joined the Labour Party simply to vote for Jeremy. It was this new, young membership who swept him into the leader's office in Westminster.
What are you doing here? Signing tiles?
Yeah, it's a sideline we operate. We sign tiles, books, photos, bottles of drink. And when I get a good crop of apples from my allotment in September, I'm going to sign the apples. We'll have signed apples.
How does it feel signing 100 photographs of yourself?
It's 80 there, actually.
80 photographs of yourself?
It does feel slightly odd, actually. I am not actually that interested in personality. I'm not a personality. I'm not that kind of person. I basically want to see doors open for everybody else.
Jeremy might be a superstar to the new party membership, but in Westminster, things are very different. Many of Labour's 232 members of Parliament don't share the membership's enthusiasm and are openly critical of his leadership.
History just says that in order for you to actually win an election, you're going to need to bring the party with you. Is that the next challenge that you've got?
Of course. I fully appreciate that I was elected here on a mandate from the membership and supporters of the party. I did not receive support from very large numbers of members of the Parliamentary Labour Party. However, I have to say the whole atmosphere within the Parliamentary Labour Party, despite what the media report, has completely changed. There are some who are harder fish to catch.
He may no longer be a voice within cabinet.
Shortly after we start filming, the Labour opposition are offered a dramatic political opportunity. Every 6 months, George Osborne, the Finance Minister, presents the government's spending budget.
I commend to the House a budget that puts the next generation first.
His latest budget has gone badly wrong. Conservative members of Parliament have been refusing to support the latest financial cuts. A crisis unfolds when the Work and Pensions Minister resigns and attacks his own government for their lack of fairness.
Welfare cuts are now too draconian, even for Ian Duncan Smith. Now there's a sentence you may never have thought you'd hear.
At the very next parliamentary session, Jeremy has a chance to inflict real damage on the wounded government.
Okay, just show us here.
Can you tell us what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Who knows?
In an unscheduled appearance, the Prime Minister has been called to Parliament to make a statement about the refugee crisis. In response, Jeremy has to make just the briefest mention of that subject. He then has the chance to attack the Prime Minister about the chaos in the government.
James is writing a speech, and what's it about?
Well, it's a weird thing, because obviously, you had the European Community thing the other day to talk about the refugee crisis. And so Cameron's got to come back to the House and talk about this. But of course, we're right in the heat of the unravelling of the budget. So for us and for him, it has to be about that as well. So it's quite phenomenal stuff, really. It's been a real opportunity to show the difference between us and them on fairness. Fairness is one of the key planks of our campaign going into the local elections. So obviously the speech is key now that Jeremy makes in the House.
An hour before he's due in Parliament, Jeremy's strategy team get together to refine his line of attack.
That's okay. Everything's better shorter.
Start doing it now.
There's nothing that doesn't benefit from a cut.
I agree.
Okay, ready? Europe is facing the biggest refugee crisis almost ever, and the Prime Minister must answer some very serious questions on this. Amnesty International has pointed out questionable legality surrounding this agreement. Those who claim asylum at a practical level must have access to interpreters.
This is an opportunity to confront the government about their budget troubles. But that only gets a mention in the second half.
Mr. Speaker, our party will resist the Chancellor's broken budget. That is unfairness to its very core. We cannot go on doing that. I think that is unfair. I changed it around quite a bit, actually, as I was giving it, as you probably noticed.
It's not up to me to throw in other than a couple of lines about the government's in a mess.
Okay, so cut back a lot on the second part.
I'd like to ask the Prime Minister if he's had a chance to read the statement made by Amnesty International.
The plight of refugees is close to Jeremy's heart, but he was passing up the opportunity to damage the government.
Very cautious use of words. They have, after all, an organisation dedicated to human rights and the rule of law. And I quote from the statement they made, guarantees subscription...
It didn't really go according to plan today. There was one thing that he had to do, it seemed, which was to exploit this Ian Duncan Smith resignation and further drive a wedge into the Tory party. And pretty much the reviews spell it out on Twitter. One MP says he snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Oh God, it's just gone really badly. Shadow Minister on Corbyn's statement, utterly pitiful and denies the country the opposition it deserves. Labour MPs truly in despair. It probably explains why things just went a bit awkward in there and we've been pretty much asked to leave for the day. We patched things up with the team and rejoined Jeremy as he launches Labour's campaign for the local council elections. Opposition parties are expected to make gains in these elections.
Electing a Labour council is the best protection for your community against the onslaught from this Conservative government.
I'm galvanised.
I'm looking forward to Prime Minister Jeremy Corbyn.
You think that'll happen?
Well, I'm convinced it's going to happen.
Are these elections your first big test as leader of the party?
No, the big test of leader of the party is to grow the party, is to make the party more active, is to challenge the party in Parliament and to take part in all the electoral contests.
And do you think you're succeeding in that at the moment?
We're getting a lot of support. The opposition to the budget went very well, and the Tories have been exposed to what they are in that respect. So yeah, I think things are going pretty well.
Following Jeremy, it would be easy to believe that Labour was about to sweep to victory on the back of his popular support.
There's a lot of selfie taken. We'll have to do everybody one leave.
Oh, cheeky kiss.
Do you think you can win an election with selfies?
If we can get, 66 million selfies, then yeah.
You're so famous.
No, not really.
Do me a favour.
A normal human being doing my job.
Do you think actually he quite likes the attention?
He loves the attention. He's an attention seeker.
If you want to stand in this, it'd be quite funny.
Oh my God.
Good luck, everyone.
A pattern begins to emerge. Jeremy's speeches go down well with his audiences of enthusiastic supporters. But it's hard to tell if his message is persuading the undecided voters.
There is a political choice to be made.
How did that go?
I think it was really good. Yeah. And also the atmosphere, it was great. Yeah. Very impressive. Nice flag.
Jeremy is far less comfortable in his new role in Westminster. Every Wednesday, as leader of the opposition, he must confront the Prime Minister in a set-piece event known as Prime Minister's Questions.
We look forward to that.
PMQs is the Labour leader's weekly opportunity to make headlines and hold the Prime Minister to account.
They've been in the news today. We won't get too controversial.
What's Jeremy wearing today?
He's very smart today.
Is that your doing?
I would like to think so.
Does it matter?
It does matter. It does matter. I was always told you dress for the occasion. Dress to impress. Letter in the Telegraph from a Major Colin Robin. Sir, many newspaper and television commentators have sneered at the way Jeremy Corbyn dresses, but at the state banquet on Tuesday, his evening dress was faultless.
That's good shit, that,
That's
mate.
you,
That's me. That's good on my CV.
With 2 hours to go before the latest encounter, the team are having a rehearsal.
I've got a better one from Tasnia, which says we're a very good school. What advantage would there be in becoming an academy?
That just gives them an opportunity again. That's the same as Wisely doing that.
Okay.
What's the point of PMQs?
Well, it's the one real opportunity every single week that Jeremy has to put the Prime Minister to the sword.
Who wants to be Prime Minister?
You do, I think.
No, come on, does anybody want to be Prime Minister? Andrew, greatness has fallen on you.
Well, far from greatness, it's David Cameron. Order, Jeremy Corbyn.
Can the Prime Minister explain why he's intent on forcing good and outstanding schools to become academies against the wishes of teachers, parents, school governors and councillors?
The reason we want to do this is to improve the standards of education in this country. I would have thought the Leader of the Opposition would want that too, no?
He hasn't even managed to convince one of his own county councillors, indeed the cabinet member for education in his own county, who told the press, you might shout, I am fed up with diktats from above, saying you will do this and you won't do that.
In regard to the piece of theatre, if you have a good win, like we're hoping for today, then it does send the troops away a little bit buoyed and up for the fight.
I'm quite keen not to sort of let him turn Prime Minister's Question Time into a subject that is not ours. I want to try and keep to the academies.
I think we turn it back, which is why I said,
The thing about Cameron is you can tell when you've really got under the skin, when he goes puce in the face and starts pointing the finger. And when we've got that reaction, then we've done our job.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could the Prime Minister explain
why he is intent on forcing good and outstanding schools to become academies against the wishes of teachers, parents, school governors and local councillors.
Well, the results speak for themselves. Under this government, there are more pupils in good or outstanding schools.
Teachers don't want it, parents don't want it, governors don't want it, head teachers don't want it. Can't he just think again and support schools and education, not force this on them?
At the end of the bout, the team checked for the instant result from the political pundits.
George Eaton says it's his best PMQs.
Jeremy's?
Yeah.
George Eaton was the worst judge of anything, but it was good. I thought
So
it
does
went
Paul
well.
Ward.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm not going to knock it, I'm just saying that. I thought last week's was better, but it was good.
Jeremy's become more effective at it. I mean, he's done PMQs in a different way from the beginning, adopted a different, less gladiatorial style of PMQs, and I think that's very popular with the public. But I think also the government is in a difficult position. It's it's gone through one disastrous series of events after another, and that's hammered home the fact that it's not just a government of failure, but it's a government that is deeply unfair to its core. And so all those things happening together has put the government very much on the back foot.
From the outside, today looks like a good day for Jeremy, but there are very real problems in his team. As we're talking after the interview, Seamus reveals somebody regularly leaks details of Jeremy's questions ahead of his confrontations with the Prime Minister.
Well,
does someone know what it's about before?
This time it did, because it leaked. It leaked from that meeting. It's very annoying because it only happens about a third of the time, but it obviously gives them a little bit of extra time. Whenever there's a leak, it gives them that advantage. And it gives them the advantage on TV as well.
Investment of millions of jobs.
Issues of unity aren't limited to Jeremy's team.
He'd come to defend Naz Shah, the Labour MP suspended over alleged anti-Semitism. But
Senior figures in this bitterly divided party confront each other in full view of the media.
You're a disgusting racist. You're saying it's not true? Yes, you're a lying racist.
Really? Why don't you go and check
a Nazi
history?
apologist. A Nazi apologist.
Check your history.
A Nazi apologist. You're a disgusting Nazi apologist, Livingstone.
A row about anti-Semitism within Labour has been rumbling since we started filming.
Anyone that commits any act of anti-Semitism is auto-excluded from the party and an inquiry follows immediately.
When Jeremy's friend and former London Mayor, Ken Livingstone, says Hitler supported Zionism, things completely fall apart.
You're going to suspend Ken Livingstone, Mr. Corbyn?
I've never seen such appalling behaviour by the media.
Jeremy. Thanks very much,
It's 5 days before we were able to film with Jeremy again, reluctantly agreeing to a short interview at the end of a day of campaigning.
How's it been for the past 5 days?
Exciting and busy.
What happened?
Well, he made remarks on a radio station. They were reported to me and to others, and we had some conference calls, and the decision was made to suspend him from party membership.
Do you understand the problem with what he said?
With what?
Ken said on the radio.
Well, of course I do, otherwise he wouldn't have been suspended. Otherwise he wouldn't have been suspended.
But can you explain to me what the problem was?
The problem was that Ken made inappropriate remarks. A decision was made to suspend him from party membership so they can be investigated, and that's where we're at.
But he made anti-Semitic remarks.
That's where we're at. He's been suspended, and an investigation will take place.
When we first started filming with you, people were discussing anti-Semitism in the Labour Party. Part of the reason why it's become such a big deal is due to a lack of leadership to do with you. What do you think about that?
My leadership is one that tries to include people and work together with other people. That is what I do. That is why I consult for making decisions. It's not a lack of leadership, it's a responsible approach to taking decisions. Okay, thank you. Yep, I'll eat in the car. Thanks. Okay.
The pressure doesn't stop. In the last PMQs before the local elections, David Cameron uses Jeremy's past political associations to attack him mercilessly.
He said, our friends from Hezbollah will be speaking. I've also invited friends from Hamas to come and speak as well. Now, Hamas and Hezbollah believe in killing Jews. If he wants to clear up the problem of anti-Semitism in the Labour Party, now is a good time to start. Withdraw that they're your friends.
Polling day in the local council elections, and we're back where we first met Jeremy, in his North London constituency.
Too tired to hold the handlebars
Welcome to your home turf, Jeremy. Welcome to Highbury East.
My turf.
She wants to take a photo.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Do you want me?
She's looking at me very suspicious. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
It's cool, is it?
She trusts you, don't you?
Where's Jeremy right now?
He is in number 58 in this estate here. Some woman asked him to go in. He's been in there a while, so I'm guessing she's put on the full spread.
It's quite vicious PMQs yesterday, wasn't it?
I don't think I've ever seen a Prime Minister act in that way. He's in the gut. I just get upset about it, you know.
All this stuff about people saying that if he doesn't do very well, they're going to try and get rid of him.
I don't know. If they want to get rid of him, the best thing to do would be wait and let Jeremy fail on his own. I don't think he will, but fail on his own, in his own time, you know.
Oh, je demande un café pour moi. Un café. Un café. Ah, c'est mon café. Mon café. Merci, monsieur.
Do you have any nerves about how the night might unfold, or how are you feeling as you go into it?
Obviously, it's impossible to know as of now. I've called a few people and everybody says it's all going well. What appears to be happening around here is the Labour vote is coming out and nobody else's is. And if inner London places like this are showing that kind of support, then that is very promising.
Labour is going to offer a real economic alternative, a real alternative of social justice, and that is something that we're going to plug on with, force this government into retreat on, and I believe will lay the foundations for an historic election victory in 2020 when we get rid of this government.
By 2 a.m, the national picture becomes clear. Despite a disastrous period for the government, Labour is failing to make any significant gains. As the final results are still being counted, we go to speak to Jeremy in Westminster.
How are you feeling?
Very tired. I got to bed at about 2 o'clock this morning. I got up at 7. So it's been a long day.
Can you describe to me the results from your point of view?
I was being told with great authority by members of Parliament here a week ago that we were going to lose at least 300 seats and that it was all down to my fault. In fact, we had a loss of 29 seats and we hung on. So I'm very happy, and I've been calling various people this evening to congratulate them on their results.
When all the votes are in, Labour's net loss is 18 seats. But the party wins a larger share of the vote than the government. Jeremy is authentic and popular within the Labour movement. But he'll have to find a wider audience to win a general election and deliver the alternative he represents.
I find the results of the election a bit worrying as a Labour member. How do you give anybody any sense that they can believe in the fact that the Labour Party will win the next general election from this point of view?
You're watching too much television. The whole narrative all day and all last night and all for the past month has been Corbyn's going to lose, Labour's going to fail, Labour's going to lose, Labour's going to fail. There is not one story on any election anywhere in the UK that the BBC will not spin into a problem for me. It's obsessive beyond belief, that they are obsessed with trying to damage the leadership of the Labour Party, and unfortunately there are people in the Labour Party that play into that.
What are you going to do about the fact that there have been people from the shadow cabinet today who have come out and criticised you?
You see, I will continue trying to develop the policies of this party and lead this party in a direction that also has a more grown-up approach to politics. I am not a traditional kind of party leader. I do things in a rather different way. Some people are slower learning than others.